Hello and welcome back. So let's continue with this tutorial. So in the previous video we addressed this case. Okay, so we have the simple airplane, the straightforward domain, the refinement region, and let me hide here, and nothing is happening here. Okay, so we were just computing forces, checking the mesh, giving a physical sense, and study the dictionary. So hopefully everything when it comes to meshing in this case, it is clear. Also the geometry, all we have intersected everything already. So far everything is straightforward. In this video what we're going to do is to add this region. So we have the same domain, refinement region. You can add all the refinement options, there is no problem, but what is important now that we add this region here. So this is to separate our domain. So we're going to have, let's say, a subdomain contained within this cylinder, and here we have the propeller. And the idea that now in this region we can put scenes into motion, sliding meshes, or we can add a source there, so the MRF approach. So this is what we're going to do. The meshing is exactly the same for both approaches, MRF or sliding meshes. What it chances that if you're taking the MRF, usually you do steady simulations. You need to put scenes into motion. You add that source there to simulate that rotation of the propeller, to compute forces according to that, and that's all. Steady approach. If you put scenes into motion, you will have the propeller properly, or whatever you put there, rotating and interacting with the body. So this is what we're going to do, and to show you the final result will be something like this as you go for the sliding meshes. So look at that, this is the top approach, okay? Everything is moving. Look at that, we're computing the string tube here, everything we have it. With the MRF, you are not going to see this string tube here, but the forces, it will be a better prediction that the first case that we run, that was nothing is moving. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to study how to set up the mesh, or only how to set up this, a few guidelines, because everything is exactly the same as the previous tutorials. So let's go back to the case directory and just to revisit what we have here. So we played with this case in the previous video. Now we move to the MRF. Remember here, usually when you do this, it is an steady approach, and then NCC is the sliding meshes. Okay, meshing will be the same. What it will change, it is the dynamics. Here you will have your script. So the run mesh pretty much is the same script as in the previous cases. Okay, so remember as well that we can change propeller. So you have it here. Be careful in your script here to do everything automatically. I will do everything with the required mesh, but you can go with definer. So after you have this, you can go and put your boundary layer. So you have the script there to do the boundary layer. Be careful that if you want to override and have the final mesh, just leave it there. If you want to have the steps and redo, just erase that override. And this is the difference here, okay, from the previous case, run mesh NCC. So this is the step that is going to create this division that we saw in the video. And let me go back and open here again. Okay, when it's rotating, you are going to interface the fixed domain with the rotating domain. Okay, so that is called the NCC. And if I come back here, so basically these interfaces, okay, will be exchanging information, okay, as it is rotating. So that NCC step is the one that is taking care of that. We're going to see that NCC that is pretty much here. Okay, so the difference, but to stress something, that was MRF, you need to create the NCC, but we're going to see later that it is recommended, okay, will give you better results, but you need to create the NCC. There is one step that we're going to see in the snappyHexMesh that is enough to create that cell region, and then you can assign your source there. Finally, after the NCC, just run the simulation. Okay, so pretty much this is what we're going to do. Okay, so we start with the MRF, and then we move to the NCC, and we study some standard practices. So at this point, let's move now to meshing and see how to do now to create that set region. So see you in the next video. Bye.